Hello and welcome back if you're new. My name is Marvelous Marva, and today I wanted to ask you, how are you handling your Earth School assignments? So, back in school, we had lots of assignments, lots of projects, things that we had to do and get done. And we would have deadlines to turn them in by. So I'm not saying that we have a deadline with any of our assignments here now in present day, but I am saying that we have assignments that come up, and our assignments can be our challenges that we have with interacting with other people outside of ourselves, or with dealing with emotions that come up from the past, trying to navigate how you're feeling and trying to keep yourself balanced so that you can ride the waves. Because I don't know if you have noticed, I've noticed, if you're like me, then you know things have been just all over the place. One minute you feel like you're going to expand and create all this stuff, and the next minute you feel like, oh well, things have slowed down, things have stopped. I myself personally, a couple months ago, I had the idea to start a smoothie bowl business, and I did all of the learning and getting a team together of my kids, we were going to do this. And then all of a sudden, the deadline that I had set for myself was the end of May. I got close to that, and I hadn't heard back from the person for my application interview, and I finally got it in June, the first week in June, or maybe it was the second week in June. I think June's almost over now, we're on the last week of June here. So yeah, got the call and was told, it's a good idea what you're doing. We've had something like this before, and maybe it didn't work out. Words that was used that kind of directed how I was thinking was do you still have the energy behind your idea? And so much time had passed of me just waiting for them to say something, that I started to question myself and wonder is this something that I really want to do right now, because it's going to be super hot. I'm asking for more freedom in my life, but this is something that would tie up more of my time, taking away freedom that I'm asking for, that feeling. So all those things came up. They were real things. And I listened to them and really stopped and took the time to really ask myself. And as she was just talking, I was just oh, it hit me. It was oh, it's okay if this is not the right time for this. There's going to be plenty of time. And in essence, I learned so much. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. So between me and my kids, we learned how to create a business plan. We learned how to create a logo and business cards and the signage and all these things. And, how to order equipment. And I didn't invest that much money into it, which was good. I learned a lot. And so I feel I can take that on to the next thing. What I've been learning a lot, or thinking about a lot, is every job that I've had while I've been out here in Galveston, where I live now, has been a step up. I started off in retail, and something happened in retail to trigger me. So it gave me the opportunity to exercise that muscle of saying, no, I don't want this kind of job for myself. I already could feel it and hear it on the inside of my head. But I'm just I gotta have a job, And so I did it for as long as I could, and I stood up for myself, and I was super proud of myself. And then I got to feeling, the feelings of anxiety again, because I didn't have a job. So I was going through the waves of that. As I was going through the waves of that, another job came up. One day I finally completely surrendered, and the next day, I went driving around looking for jobs, and then I stopped and parked and just started filling out some online applications, and I got a job at the resort out here, and it was for front desk. So like I was like, wow, I've always wanted to work at a hotel, and like the front desk, I could never even imagine myself. Like I always thought that you had to like have some kind of skill to do it. I don't know why it seems so like prestigious. And so I got the job, did the job, started to see like the ins and outs, started to feel like the tension, started to not like the pay. Like it just didn't seem like it would be worth it anymore. And I got triggered up out of there. Like I actually stayed this time though. Like the boss took me downstairs one day and everyone was like whispering like, Marva's going downstairs, she's probably gonna get fired. We get downstairs and I was like, are you gonna fire me? And she's like, no, but I know that you found another job, because in the middle of that, one day while I was working, I went on the computer up front and I filled out an application for like hospitality, and I got an interview. So they gave me an offer. I went ahead and accepted it. I was like, okay, it's like maybe I can do both jobs, because I really like the customers, the guests that came to stay at the resort. I really like those interactions. That lit me up like crazy. Except for when it was like, people that were not so pleasant, but those were like so few and far between during my shifts at least. And so yeah, I went ahead and went down there with her, and she was like, well, we know that you want to just work part-time, and HR said that you wouldn't be able to keep all of your benefits. And it's not like benefits like insurance. It was just like a restaurant benefit. And I was like, well, that would be okay as long as I can still stay working, then, that's fine. And the training for the other job was for like 8 weeks. So I technically was almost off for like 8 weeks while I did my training. And then when I went back to work after training was done from this job that I'm at now, I worked for a little bit, but then I started to feel overworked, because it was like working a daytime job. No, it was evening hours. I was working evening from like 1 to 9:30. Working an evening job plus working like there like early in the morning or on my days off. It was just like a lot of work. And so eventually I told her, I was like, I'm so sorry, but I can't just keep coming anymore. And she was like, I understand. She was like, if you ever need to come back, we're here. And it made me feel good, because I allowed myself this time, instead of having that anxiety, I was already getting paychecks from this other job. So like it was a smooth transition. So I say all that to say that right now I'm at this same job that I've been at. It'll be a year next month. Well, in August, it'll be a year. And I know that there's some more changes coming up. And I know that everyone out there has been feeling like this energy of like moving around and changing, like doing something different, doing something more in alignment, rethinking about like what it is that you like really love, what it is that you go back to all the time. And so I've just been like keeping myself open. I think that we should all keep ourselves open. There's a lot of downloads and channels that's coming into us and giving us information or intel about what it is that lights us up and what our next steps are going to be. And all we have to do is just stay present in it. So like navigating your assignments, your class assignments, some of them may feel sticky. Like I went with a friend and I hadn't seen this friend for a while, and went and hung out with her and had a blast. Before, when we had the space between us, I had moments where I would think, I don't want to hang out with her because I'm going to go backwards to who I used to be. But with time and clarity, like seeing myself now hang out with her, it gave me more intel to see, to like actually like view myself while I was there with her, and to see myself like how relaxed I was. Some of the things that I do that, maybe I can grow from that, like, and do something even more, or not be afraid. Like, her driving scared me. That was a huge trigger for me. It always has been. And I had to sit there and like literally ride that wave while I was in the car with her. And I had to calm myself down. And her son was so calm in the back. And I was like, he's used to this. And then I had to remember, nothing's going to happen. Even if I'm taken out, like, even if, I die, it's okay. Everything's all right. But also, things can be sticky being in other people's energy, and that's okay. That's a part of life. How you react to everything is everything. For the last big scare of the trip, like, my eyes there was a huge, like, 18-wheeler next to us, and it was like he was going to sandwich us into the wall. But somehow he was, like, so close, but not. And I watched as she drove. I didn't close my eyes. I was just like, oh my God. Like, in my head, I was like, oh my God, can't he see us? And then, like, we were in the middle of him, and I was like, what about his blind spot? I was like, oh my God, he can't see us. He can't see us. And, like, I was just saying, I was doing all this internally. And she was saying some words on the outside, but then she got quiet too. And we made it past him. She just sped up. She's like a little race car driver. I was like, when did you become, like, a part of NASCAR? She's like, I always drive like this. She's like, I don't speed. So I think that it was good for me to experience that, because I felt like every inch of my fear was being pulled like it was a cord, and someone was like pulling it through my chest and my head. Like, both parts were just like feeling like confusion and fear and like worry, like everything was being pulled on. And then when we made it through, it was just like it snapped back, and it was like air took us again, and we were able to breathe, and we were all safe. And sometimes, we can forget that, and we can overreact, and overreacting is definitely, it doesn't help our situation, because whatever moment we're in, all of the moments that we're in, they're all fleeting. They're all going to pass, whether it's the most miraculous thing that you've ever seen, and that too shall pass. You're going to walk away, and then you'll see the next greatest thing, or you'll experience the next scary thing or the next tragic thing, and then moments later it'll be over. You'll have a discussion that's heated, and in the next moment it'll be over. Like, things can't just keep going. Like, everything happens and then it's not happening. So we're all just like here in a happening, and just like riding the wave of the happenings. And when we're present, like, like when we're paying attention in it and not thinking like, why is this happening to me? Or you can even think, why is this happening to me? Questioning, any question is good, however you want to pose it to yourself. But you can, see what it is that you can learn from that assignment. So that way you have less of those assignments. In my opinion, I think that's what happens. We get less of those assignments, because I don't see myself going through the same assignments all the time. Like, for the ones that I figured out and I've gotten the information I needed to get from it, and I've exercised that muscle, and now I'm stronger, I've moved on to the next like level of challenges, or the next waves. Life would be really boring if we didn't have like all of these different like ebbs and flows. If it was just all just like complacent and everything's the same and everything, like if the simulation was just always so perfect, we would seek out, like I feel like we would eventually seek out like to do something, outside of the box. It's just like the yin and yang of things. It's the light and the dark. You can't have one without the other. You can't know true love until you know true pain. Like, You have to be able to experience it. And it's good to see other people's experiences that can give you some intel and help you see, help guide yourself a little bit. But it's also very important to listen to yourself, to trust yourself, to know that whatever it's saying on the inside, there's a reason behind it. You don't have to attach to all of your thoughts, but there are some thoughts that will definitely elevate you. With that being said, as far as elevation goes, I have a feeling that I am going to be starting something new, something that I've been holding myself from. And I don't care, like before I would be like, I wouldn't want to share this with everyone because I don't want people to like if it doesn't work out, like those fears. And we're here to experience life. So, our kids, if you have kids or if you interact with young ones or just people in general, people try things and some things work out, some things don't. We don't sit there and stay in that feeling of, oh, it didn't work out or, oh, it did work out. We move on to the next feelings. So with that being said, I want to go to yoga training school. I think that it would be a dream for sure. I've listened to all of the reasons why I shouldn't do it before for years, because for years, I love doing yoga. I always go back to yoga, working out, physical activity. Those are the main things in my life, if you really look at me throughout the years. And even now, present day. And so I've always told myself, well, I don't think I'll have time to do yoga. But now you can do, you can be an online yoga person, which frees up your time. You still have your freedom. So instead of talking myself out of it, now is the next step is to find a class. And I've already emailed someone. I got out of my way and emailed someone, and they sent me over some recommendations. So I'm just taking it slow, going with the flow, not rushing, but knowing that it would be something super beneficial for me, and it would get my body in the position that I've been wanting it to be in anyway. And also, I love to help people learn things, and I think that I'm good at that. So I don't know. What have you been working on? What insights have come into your mind or your heart or your awareness lately? Pay attention to those thoughts. And then ask yourself questions. As soon as you try to shut yourself down and try to say, well, I can't do it because of this and that, ask yourself, but wait, why can't I do it? Flip the question. So what if it's going to take, time? That's okay. What else are we doing? 5 years ago, what were we doing? Time goes by really fast and everything is so fleeting. So you might as well just have experiences while you're here. This is a beautiful place to be. Earth is wonderful. There's so much that we can see and learn. Our evolution is looking magical more and more every day. Yeah. Well, this is a longer than usual episode. So, with that being said, I am going to end today's episode here. Wherever you are, whether it's morning, noon, or night, have a good one. Until next time.